That's a terrifying thought, Tobin. Tobin's haven't been telling me I'm the boss. It's like that is a terrifying thought to me personally. Hey everyone, we're doing the after party after show. Tobin was just about to get into this really interesting story, and Tobin, set it up for us.
Well, I got invited to go talk with Richard Madison, and we had a pretty good discussion. And then we had the after party, and Nakasuchi joined us, and as well as Khalil Allah. And we got into it. I got to express my thoughts on that.
Good.
To him.
Good. So what are your thoughts on the situation?
I'm pretty strongly against like the Muslim and Christianity as a whole. Like both of those organizations, even if you say that you are at, a very liberal, you are just like a step below, it's not too much more, and then you can get convinced to be even more fundamental, and you just, it just opens the door for more people to accept it.
Yeah.
And to me, it's useless, all of it. And he was trying to make it out like I hated it or something like that, and it's like, no, I see the harm. There's harm that comes from these ideas.
Oh yeah.
And I just kind of
how did Rage do? I know I don't want to talk about Rage when he's not here, but I know that Rage has had run-ins before with Khalil, and how did he manage himself?
Yeah, I'm really thankful he did jump in, because he does have some background with it and a good understanding. It he had a very good perspective. It did turn out to be a very good conversation.
Interesting. So what type of Islam is Khalil into? Is he what does liberal Islam look for him?
It's man, I have the name of your cat stuck in my head, and I know that's not the name, but it starts with an M.
It's not Mookie. It's not Mookie. It's not Mookie Islam.
It's oh man. It starts with an M though, and
Okay.
as he was describing it, Khalil was describing it as a very progressive, way of looking at Islam.
Okay. I just did a quick Google search of but what will so I don't know what it is off the top of my head. Maybe someone in the chat knows. Hey, everyone in the chat. So Theo is asking, I missed it. How did Khalil Allah and Nakasuchi stand? Yeah, how was it a cordial kind of back and forth, or was there intensity?
At the very beginning, because I had made some claims about the Muslim, and I got pretty passionate at one moment.
Yeah.
But I did give a chance for everybody else to talk and stuff like that. I backed out somewhat, and it did calm down. It got to some points to where we're laughing, and that topic was not the so it ended on a good note.
Oh, that's positive.
I did get to express that I didn't like it. I know I'm not gonna be like, oh, you're just playing for the other team. It's all good. Because this ain't a team sport. This is like real life, and what is and what happens because of those ideas, it's a harsh reality that it dishes out, and I'm totally against it.
Yeah. I feel what you're saying, Tobin. I feel what you're saying. Yeah, and that was on. So I might catch it. I don't know, man. I'm doing a lot of stuff today.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, I've discovered that working gets in the way of a lot of stuff, um,
Yeah.
and relationships too. Nothing but yeah, I have a great relationship, but it does. It's an investment. It's an investment of time and energy. That's what it is.
Mhm.
So yeah. But I would like to see about that. So it'll be interesting to see too, because Khalil Allah, it'll be interesting to see where he or how his development goes, right? Just in terms of human psychology, right? To see how he develops over time, just like all of us. I can say this is that I become as I've gotten older, I've gotten more militant in my atheism, and I think that's me just following the data points, right? Like I was kind of soft, like live and let live. And then 9/11 happened, and then the birth of my kids. And I'm like, maybe ideas do count. maybe the thoughts running around in other people's heads and these institutions out there just, putting out this filth. This filth does have an effect on society.
No, I'm in total agreement with you. Yes.
Yeah. Theo says it's very interesting to me. I'm a bit sad about Justin's conversion, but you like critical discussion. Sure. I'll say this, that when I've had interactions with Justin before, I remember when I was on a show before, we were talking, politics before the show, and I told him, and he was definitely to the right of me, and I laughed and I said, well, I'm gonna try to turn you into a bomb throwing Bolshevik at some point, or turn you into a big lefty. It'll be interesting to see how his political views change, if they change at all, in his new faith.
Yeah, it's crazy because in conversations, I've heard him say, one, that he's not been shown the God, the God has not revealed itself to him, and that he's still going to uphold humanist values, and he, anytime he would see something, he was still going to push that, which that's cool, but
faith I was just going to say, faith does not incentivize humanist values in general. I know that's a broad brush, but sure, liberal faiths do, depending on how you define liberal faiths. But in general, they definitely do not typically incentivize secular values.
Right.
What's up, Brain Bug?
Yeah, right.
I know Brain. Yeah, Jesse. Yeah, Jess.
Jesse.
I know that Brain Bug has had issues, and what he stated before publicly with Khalil Allah, and it isn't just because having your own YouTube channel or being involved with these open rooms is that when you see people of your own tribe, of your own group, right, saying something that may be not factually true or lacking in compassion, it's important for us to point them out. Even yesterday when we were just talking about bats, I'm like, well, I think Paul, off the cuff, and Paul said he knew that bats are not mice with wings, but I felt the need to kind of say, well, they aren't really related together, and bats are more closely related to people than they are to mice. Now here's interesting. If Khalil was not there, I would have come on Tobin Templeman. Yeah. So, and you'll see this once again with me on my own channel, especially if things happen, if I don't like what people are saying, or if they color outside the very broadly defined lines, because I want people to feel comfortable with being able to say what they want to say. But in terms of, like rape jokes or Holocaust denying kind of stuff, I just can't tolerate that kind of stuff here. Yeah.
And I'm in agreement. If I ever say anything, please correct me. I will listen. I
Yeah,
will listen.
the same thing with me, man. You know, I mean, if I'm I don't want to think that I'm sucking my own dick so much that I cannot hear from friends, right? And people who want to genuinely, you know, care about me and care about the truth. I you know, I might get hot, right? It just comes with the territory, but given the time and short amount of time too, I will come around and check myself. If people are like saying, Andy, you're off base on this, you know. So Brainbug was saying, I can't deal with him lying about the nature of his conversation in FB group. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, any conversation with if I ever do, because I don't seek him out. You know, I mean, it might be an interesting way of getting, you know, cheap clicks and views on the channel, but I have no desire to do that. It would be probably one of the things I want to talk to him about if he does ever happen to pop in.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting how it happened because he just showed up in the chat when me and Richard were just conversating, and then Richard had said that you know, he's pretty close to being to where he would call himself a Muslim, and I basically broke right at that moment.
Rich, you know, you'll see that there are certain people I don't ask to come on the channel. I'm sure Richard's a nice guy. I can sit down and have a pint with him, but I'm not gonna promote shitty ideas. I just don't. You know, that's just a rule I have. If I go on someone else's channel, I mean, the one time he was here when Chris and I were doing the show, I just couldn't. You know, I challenged him nicely on a few things, but yeah, you know, I was just stunned by what I was hearing coming out of his mouth.
Yeah, and I shared my stunnedness, and he was in the chat. I went on a rant about the Muslim ideology, and I know I had gotten sparked something inside of Khalil, and yeah,
Yeah.
I'm glad I had the opportunity to let him know, because really I wasn't going to go search him out and go try to be like, hey, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, to each his own. I mean, I'm not going to force nobody.
Right. Exactly. Better things to do with your time. I have better things to do with my time. Yeah, definitely. I don't know if I already shared this, but if anyone insults Brainbug, he is not my ally anymore. Yeah, you know, if you, you know, I have been the victim. I have made comments, public comments on Facebook that took me a while to realize that I was in the wrong. I did my apologies and went forward from there. I think that's the only thing you can do as a human being. But if you're doubling down, or if you don't recognize the problems that you have after multiple people have brought them up, or that you've done harm on other people, then that's a problem. Yeah, that's a problem.
I would agree.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I've never been on Discord. I have to tell you, Theo, and maybe it's one of those things I need to do, but I have not. I have not. Yeah. So, how long did the whole conversation go for, Tobin?
The part where I actually interacted with Khalil, it's probably less than 25 minutes.
Oh wow, that's still a long time.
It went. The after party was, you know, long, but there's only a short period of time where I'm actually there.
Yeah.
I did end up leaving. I had said what I wanted to say, and I basically was done.
Yeah, dude.
So there's only a good section of that I'm in.
Yeah, I am with you there. Is that when I do after parties or when I'm on like an exception, if I'm not doing the stream myself, and if I'm just there, like when I go on B's stream, I feel like I got a good hour in me of being able to give intelligent, insightful, and maybe comical insights. And after that, I'm like, I gotta. There is just nothing good coming out of here, out of my brain, especially late at night.
And plus, it gives a balance too. There's other people there who would like to express their thoughts and stuff. So
yeah. I'm not a mic hog.
So it's kind of respectful in a way.
Yeah. What actually irritates me about performing is that there are definitely mic hogs, and there are people who if you have a list of people performing, comedians, and you can definitely, there are some people who jump the queue. Those times always irritated the crap out of me. Brainbug says Khalil did not engage in this behavior but facilitated it. Yeah, I could feel my jaw tightening up right there. Yeah, not but facilitated it and not moderating it at all. And yeah, you gotta put up good fences, make good neighbors. Good fences make good neighbors. So if you are a moderator, then it's your effing job to moderate. Jesse Bear writes down, I just want to avoid people that want to argue as much as possible at this time. I'm sorry, I have to adult right now. I can't really argue about how you're misinterpreting the Kalam constant or the Kalam argument right here, right now. Yeah, I see what you're saying, Jesse Bear. Well, a lot of arguing, and it is a kind of a boys' club in a way, that once the testosterone starts going, it's people get caught up, people get hooked. That's what I've seen, at least. People can get hooked into these weird arguments and positions that they would not have normally been arguing for, if it wasn't for a little bit of testosterone poisoning there. And I don't think it's, hey, Clockwork Rex. Clockwork Rex, how you doing?
I'm doing. How you fellas doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Clockwork.
Oh. So what are we deep diving into this time?
We were just talking about Tobin's interaction with Khalil Allah, an atheist who just converted to Islam. I don't know, a couple of months ago, maybe. And
really?
Oh yeah. Truth is stranger than fiction, my friend. That's what it is.
Oh,
always. Yeah. So it's been somewhat of a thing within the community. Is he still calling his what's he calling his YouTube channel these days? Anyway,
it's still the same. The Empathetic Atheist.
That guy. Yeah, I'm sub to him, I think.
Yeah. If you want to rebrand yourself, and once again, it's about being honest, right? It's about being honest with yourself and being honest with the people who are coming into listening to you. Because with a name like Empathetic Atheist, that's just a fucking salt lick for bringing atheists in, so that so that, oh wait, he's not an atheist, he's Muslim, so if that is, and I'm not going to be the first one to say this, of course, but that's just disingenuous.
Well, yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah.
And what's the story on him converting to Islam? Has anybody heard?
Oh yeah. Well, there's been many discussions about it. He says that the Kalam constant argument basically brought him into the folds of Islam. And yeah, I know. And one of the themes that I want to bring up, that I always bring up here on the channel, having the psychology background, is that people make decisions first, typically, and then they start rationalizing those decisions.
Exactly. It's like they work backwards. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They reverse engineer shitty choices that their brains make. Yeah. What's up, Sammy?
Sammy.
Well, saw your we can call it an interview, Tobin, I guess. I don't know what you call it with Richard, but I actually didn't see the original show, but I saw the after show, and man, I think I was out shopping or something, but I was like fist pumping, and you actually had me quite excited. Um, how you defended your point of view to Khalil, I was really impressed.
So, what did you find impressive about it?
That the arguments that he threw out, I know would have stumbled me, like if I hadn't had a chance to think about my answers beforehand. But and Tobin's answers were, I think, better than I would have been able to give. So I was impressed.
Good.
And Tobin didn't let him drag him onto a script or twist the point that Tobin was making. He managed to keep the point front and center.
Good.
Which, and I watch people who have debated for years struggle to do what you seem to do so naturally today. It was last night for you. So, well done, Tobin. Well done.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you.
Sounds impressive, Tobin. I'll give you your belt. I don't know what division or what belt it is, but we'll make some kind of belt for you.
Put another notch in your bedpost. There you go.
Right. Well, it's interesting you should say this, Sammy, is that I think it's useful to have some, and to use a gun analogy, to have some bullets in the chamber ready, so that if someone does, because these theist arguments, they are just pretty much the same. They haven't changed a lot since Thomas Aquinas. So being ready to have something to respond quickly helps.
Which I generally do, but Khalil wanted to sort of keep taking it to a philosophical place, which is where I understand and I can follow, but I certainly can't argue philosophically.
Well, I mean, if it's philosophy that's unmoored by data, what is it?
I guess.
It sounds like it smells like bullshit to me. That's what it smells like.
Fair enough.
And that's the thing about a lot of people, is that our brains suck so much that even the best logicians will have their logical parts of their little monkey brains overwhelmed by the brainstem, by our emotional brains, by our reptilian brains. And that's why it's so important to exercise a dedication to data, as well as to be compassionate for our fellow humans and fellow animals too. But logic alone, it will bring you into cul-de-sacs, my friends. It will be lead you into cul-de-sacs.
It was interesting. Sorry, go on, Tobin.
Yeah, I think a lot of times it gets dressed up with big words and stuff like that, but don't let those trick you. Don't let those throw you off, because it really, philosophy, the good stuff, the good philosophy is nice and simple, plain words that everybody can grasp, and you can use it, you can apply it. And if I liked what you said about if it doesn't have data points, then what is it for? It must be bullshit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've heard so many versions of Pascal's wager thrown at me that it's just, you're just saying the same shit over and over again in a different way and trying to make yourself sound smarter than
The highlight for me, though, I think, was when he was trying to argue that Islam is progressive, and that Islam begun women's freedom.
What? What?
Yeah, it was.
So that's a
he was saying
constant.
something-
That's a fucking talking point. And so liberal Christians, I think if you're going to be an honest liberal Christian, then you would have to say, yeah, there's some horrible crap about the Bible, and it's been and somehow work with that to be truthful about the source material. To say that Islam, even so this is what the Trojan horsing is. This is Trojan horsing, saying that you're a liberal. See, and this is effing consistent with him, is that, hi, I'm going to keep my channel, The Empathetic Atheist, when I'm not an atheist. And to tell you the truth, with saying things like Islam is the source or the creator or a proponent of women's rights, that is disingenuous too. So what does that mean? Does that mean he's a logician? Possibly. Does that mean that he is a marketing? Does that mean that he's trying to be a some kind of fifth column? Maybe. Does that mean he's being disingenuous? Definitely. That's what it does. Oh my God. Yeah. You can just smell the bullshit from coming right from the internet.
Yeah. Well, he tried to call Tobin out and say, "Oh, so how many denominations do you actually know then?" And then tried to state that he's a new denomination. He's as liberal as you can be and still be Muslim.
Well, it's funny, if you're so liberal, then why are you telling out these talking points that conservative and radical fundamentalist, Muslim scholars would say? Why would you do that then? You say one thing, but you're doing another thing. And it just smells like bullshit. It's the same smell of bullshit that you get from Jordan Peterson. It's the same kind of bullshit that he's spewing out. That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like some Psi 10 Brugengate shit right there. Yeah. How do you know? How do you know? Are you sure?
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's the idea that you would need, and this is such a common theist argument. Well, how do you know, especially with Islamic scholars and Muslims? It's like, well, how do you know everything about the Quran if you haven't read it in its in the original Arab? It's like, well, that's a facetious argument too, to tell you the truth. That means I can't criticize bad ideas if I don't read your special mumbo jumbo. Yeah. It's
I've read the Bible all the way through. Revelations is my favorite book. That shit that needs to be made into a movie.
Yeah.
And I don't care if it's 5 hours long. I would sit there and watch it.
I think the Book of Job is the most honest. If you're going to talk about a depiction of the Christian God, the Book of Job is definitely, at least as I feel, and it's also the most darkest of humor, because God basically starts effing with Job for no reason besides that God just wants to F with Job.
Him and the devil make a bet. Here we go.
And God brings it up. God, and God's like, hey, what do you think about this guy? Oh yeah. And then the answer God gives to Job is shut the fuck up and sit down. Oh yeah. That's finger licking good. That tells you the character of the Christian God right there. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know. From the little I know, I have to say he's slightly less horrid than the Muslim God. So even though they're the same God.
Yeah.
Yep. So yes.
Yeah. Jews, Muslims, and Christians all have the same God. It's all the same dude. Or however you want to look at it. I always call God an it, just to piss people off.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed. So Sammy, what website are you working on? Pivoting a little bit. Well, you said that you're working on the site.
Just for my company, my actual company website. So the guy who's built it for me done a fantastic job, and he set it up in a way that I can build onto it myself as I need.
Nice.
So I've now got it set up. So it's obviously a website for my company where participants can come and view what we do and see different pictures and testimonials and stuff like that, as well as our properties and all that sort of stuff, as well as I now have set it up so my staff can do their progress notes and incident reports
nice.
and stuff all on the site. So
Yeah.
slowly, I just need to add some sort of rostering function to it.
Yeah, you need
now
to tweak
as
it
well.
a little bit. Yeah.
And I'm currently now using 3 programs will hopefully all be done on my own website. So
Cool.
Ah, fair enough.
And if it works, patent
go
the
ahead.
idea and
Sell it. There you
sell
go.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Dr. Mordecai said, the king of clocks has spoken.
It is
Somebody's been watching The Mandalorian. I didn't realize in the first season that guy, the little short guy, was actually an Ugnaught. I didn't realize that.
the little short guy.
With the that was riding what were they? Fuck, the ones that found he found the Mandalorian after he crashed his ship and fixed it.
Okay, yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, whatever his name was. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, but am I correct? I was blown away the other day when I heard that we don't have a name or we don't know what race Yoda is.
Oh yeah, no, we don't. The only other
Fascinating.
being like Yoda we saw in the Clone Wars cartoon, and we still don't know what race he is.
Interesting.
Oh yeah, there's a baby Yoda in the Mandalorian too. So.
Yes, there is it's interesting when we start talking about these series. It's like, well, how much? Oh, because I've seen all of them,
right?
And I've seen The Mandalorian, and it's like I don't want to ruin anything for anyone who hasn't seen it.
Well, I haven't seen the second season, so you can go all the way up to the first season.
Yeah,
but dude had the dark saber. I mean, yeah, at the end of the first season, I was like, what?
I will make a confession. See, this is an example of a time that I was completely wrong and about something important like The Mandalorian. Is that I grew up, reading when I was in high school, Lone Wolf and Cub comics.
Right.
And Lone Wolf and Cub is the baby card assassin. I'm not going to go into this whole geek thing about Lone Wolf and Cub, but
actually sounds a little camp.
It's an interesting term. It's a big story in Japan. There's been a series of movies, and I think maybe even a TV series based on Lone Wolf and Cub. And a small third. It wasn't Marvel or DC. It was another First Comics that was out during the 80s, maybe early 90s, that did a series called Lone Wolf and Cub. And so when I first saw The Mandalorian, I had the traditional geek response of this isn't exactly like the thing that I imagined it would be.
I've done that too. Don't feel bad.
Yep. And then it took some cooling off for me. And then I looked again, remembering there was a person who led the BSO, the Boston Symphony Orchestra, named Adam Levine. And he said you have to look at a new piece of art 3 times to adequately get an opinion about it. Because you can't get it, because if it's so new, your previous concepts and opinions just muddy, your interaction with the art form. And so I thought, all right, I'm going to give The Mandalorian another shot. And then I said, wow, this does not suck.
Oh, yeah. It's not perfect, but it doesn't suck. It's not
Right.
like the last fucking Star Wars movie where it was just ass.
For not having watched any episodes yet, so I'm only going off the advertisements. But that baby, I'm going to just call it Baby Yoda,
That's what everybody calls it. Apparently, it does have a name.
solid black eyes.
Mm.
Yeah.
While Yoda has white eyes with irises and pupils and the similar to ours, so it's kind of made it less personable and more creature-like, in my opinion.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Interesting.
Yeah. Is it a change because it's owned by different people now, or is that going to be how
I know.
the younglings are, and they'll grow more normal eyes later on or something?
That is a good question. I know, psychologically speaking, that when, whether it's a statue or a painting or anime, or, people associate larger eyes with intelligence, right? And so maybe when they did different mock-ups of the character and realized that the large black eyes create more mystery. Yeah, it creates more mystery.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And I have to tell you, this is how I do my comedy, by the way. I just start talking, and then I say, "Oh,
figure it out as you go."
That was pretty funny. I should write that down."
That is one thing that's really fun with art is you can. It's almost like a path to discovery. It's like you have an idea, that you want to make this, but as you're making it, you stumble upon, another idea, and you're like, oh wow. And that's what I find really fascinating about making art and stuff, is that moment of discovery, and you're like, oh, that little light bulb moment. That's what I keep on coming back for.
Yeah, dude, I'm with you on that, because and you're spot on. It's I didn't realize this is what I'm doing. This is what this story is, or whatever piece of artwork, that this is what it's about. But then you discover, and that's why, Stephen King, I read through his book a second time on writing. And that's what he recommends for writers, at least, is just to focus on character, and plot is secondary, because the characters will bring you in directions that you weren't aware of.
I could see that for sure.
Yeah.
Because how the character is what kind of actions he will end up taking, or she.
Exactly. So in terms of when just reading a fiction book, you can see when the author feels like they have to do something, and they just kind of jam something into the book because plot really requires it. And those are typically the most ham-fisted parts of anything, of whether it's a book or watching a TV series or a movie. It's like, oh, they need to do this, and this is the best way they thought they could do it. It's like, yeah, that's plot being jammed in there.
I can name some spots in the Bible that are like that.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, I hear you. So this is Brain Bug. Baby Yoda has black eyes because the young fend for themselves by nocturnal hunting small prey. Okay, and then they mature, daytime hunting becomes more viable. That's interesting.
And I was about to say, is that canon or head canon? And he promptly posted just my head canon, so it's
just my head canon.
Didn't even need to ask.
All right. But like I said, I think
it's pretty viable.
Yeah. But I think in terms of creating, in terms of character development, I think the big black eyes, does create more mystery for the character. Yeah. Much more than having like regular eyes.
So the question is, what do they hunt?
Well, I will say one thing is that Yoda. Have I ever talked about how Empire Strikes Back is the most hungriest film of all time, About if you watch Empire Strikes Back, it's all about food and digesting and eating and devouring and shitting, because
Yeah.
it really is. Joseph Campbell, the warrior with 10,000 faces. It's all about the second act is about the warrior transformation, and the way how ancient people saw transformation was by eating, devouring, and shitting. So if you look at Empire Strikes Back, there is a ton of food analogies. Yoda steals Luke's food. Yoda serves Luke food. When they confront Darth Vader in the Cloud City, why is there a dinner table set with no food? Why? There's a ton of imagery in Empire Strikes Back about eating and crapping, because Luke is becoming a Jedi in that movie. And that's just, I could probably do like an hour show with clips.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who knew Star Wars was so deep?
Dude, Empire Strikes Back is a deep dive. They even quote Carlos Castaneda. And anyone who knows who Carlos Castaneda is, he was big in the 60s, early 70s, about Native American mysticism, basically. Even when Yoda says, "Do you judge me by my size?" No, because the Force is my ally, and a powerful ally it is. In Carlos Castaneda's book, Don Juan, A Yahweh Way of Knowledge, that's one of the things he talks about with peyote, because in the book, the mystic uses peyote as a mystical tool, as an ally. So that's second. The Empire Strikes Back, it is a deep dive into Joseph Campbell, Joseph Campbell's analysis of the hero's journey right there. And arguably the best movie of the series. I'm going to throw that too.
I would not disagree with that. And do you know when the first Star Wars came out, George Lucas hightailed it to Hawaii because he thought it was just going to be a bomb. He thought it was just going to implode on itself and nobody'd like it.
Yeah. Hey, Dr. Mordecai knows what I'm talking about. I turned into a crow with Carlos. That's right. That was one of the bits in the book. Good. Yeah. Odd reference right there, but but I'm not surprised Dr. Mordecai would have read that book. Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing about art, right? And artists don't know what's going to be popular. I mean, we have some basic ideas about what might be popular, but you could be done with something and you might think it's not your best work, let's just say, and all of a sudden it blows up.
Yeah. But the key is to be pre-popular. If it's already popular, then it's just pop culture.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not
Yeah,
that there's anything wrong with
it becomes
pop
derivative. Yeah.
culture. Yeah.
True.
Well, like when the first Star Wars blew up, you had all these other B movies that were trying to be like Star Wars, but they didn't. Yeah.
You see that all the time with anything that's innovative. Whether it was The Matrix, there was a bunch of other movies that came out that was trying to bite the style of The Matrix.
Mm-hmm.
People just trying to make a quick buck, basically slapping movies together.
Yeah. Well, this works, so let me put something together over here and see if it's almost exactly like that. But
that's the damnable thing with LA is that you will hear this all the time from screenwriters, directors, producers. People want something that isn't too different. They want to hear something. They want to see something that's recognizable but with a twist, and that does limit a lot of creativity.
Yeah.
Trek Wars.
Right.
Well, now something that I thought was going to be derivative but wasn't was Babylon 5. Now I love that show.
I've heard good things about it.
Yeah, you haven't watched it?
Yeah, because it could hold its own. It wasn't too similar. The aliens were different enough. Although there was a lot of similarities in concept, it just didn't feel similar to anything else that was around, like Deep Space Nine or Voyager or anything like that at the time.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think it's part of the reason it probably did okay.
I should
Well,
really check that out.
Yeah, the fighters that they use are like actually what you would probably use in space. The way they moved and how they got around. Yeah.
All right, so everyone, I'm going to have to close up shop 15 minutes
Fair enough.
early because I have to go do work stuff, adult stuff, unfortunately. Not that this isn't adult stuff, but it's a different category of adult stuff.
Yeah. Right.
Man, we gotta go be responsible now.
I have to. I'm not saying you all have to
I
be
have to
responsible
too.
at all. All right, everyone, thanks for showing up. I had a great conversation. We're doing this crazy thing tomorrow. Hope to see you there.
All right. I'll be around. Take care.